On occasion, when presenting the truth that the whole Bible is still true and completely applicable to all believers today, we receive a rather interesting response. Sometimes, when contemplating what it would really mean to believe and practice the whole Bible, an almost immediate response of, "We can't keep the whole law perfectly," is offered as a counter thought. The obvious implication of this statement is that since no one can keep the whole law perfectly, then we're not to keep it at all. Now, this is often said in terms of God's dietary instructions found in Leviticus 11, or the Sabbath found in Leviticus 23. Ironically, these are the easy commandments to keep, if not the easiest. But then have you ever asked someone if they have ever lied, or murdered, or lusted in their heart, and thus broke those commandments? Well, then now we have an issue. Because if we can't keep those, should we just throw up our hands and say, well, I shouldn't just keep those because I just can't? This whole idea stems from the fact that Jesus, his Hebrew name being Yeshua, kept God's law perfectly, which of course afforded us the means to salvation by grace and faith when he died on the cross. This is a very true statement. Yeshua did keep the law of God perfectly for us, but for two reasons. One, to afford us salvation, as we already mentioned. But number two, which is what a lot of people forget about, and some do not consider, is that he came to show us the right way to keep the law of God, to be our light, to be our way to live, to show us the truth, and to be life. Does that sound familiar? John 14:6. Yeshua said to him, "I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." And John chapter 12, "I have come as light into the world, so that everyone who believes in me will not remain in darkness." Those are all terms for the Word of God, which is why Yeshua is called the Word of God. See Revelation 19:13. So, since we do not have to keep the law of God for salvation, which is good because we would all fail, but instead we should still keep it because keeping God's law means not sinning. 1 John 3:4. It means being a light, walking in the way, practicing his truth, and keeping the way of life. John 14:6. In other words, Yeshua did not come to do the law perfectly just so that we should no longer do the law at all. But he came to do the law perfectly, to be our example on how to keep the law of God, not our excuse not to. You know the verses, walk like he walked, follow his example, pick up our cross and follow him. We do not need to quote these verses, but we do encourage you to really believe in these verses. Yeshua did not say, "You shouldn't follow what I did or taught," or "not walk as I walked." Obviously, we are to do those things, not because we can do the law of God better than Yeshua did, and not for our salvation, but because they are perfect instructions and the way to live. They are blessings. They are truth. His whole word is truth. Who would not want to practice truth? Psalm 119, 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law, Torah, is truth. Are we then suggesting that just because Yeshua practiced the truth perfectly, that we should just ignore truth and walk contrary to it? Obviously not. So when we believe and practice the whole Word of God, just like Yeshua, our Messiah, we also become the light of the world, just like Yeshua said, Matthew 5. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. He doesn't say, don't be a light because I was the light. That would be just silly. Proverbs 6:23, for the commandment is a lamp, and the law, Torah, a light. Reproofs of instruction are the way of life. Isaiah 8, to the law, Torah, and to the testimony. If they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Yes, it is true. On occasion, we will all mess up keeping the law of God. Not intentionally, we hope, but because our flesh gets in the way. It gets the best of us. But are we to dismiss the whole law of God because of that? Or still strive to keep it despite our imperfections in the flesh? So perhaps instead of saying, Yeshua already did that, so I don't have to, perhaps we should be saying, Yeshua already did that as an example for me, so now I get to also. Just a thought.
It is because of you, our generous supporters, who make it possible to offer these high-quality teachings completely free of charge. If you feel led to support 119 Ministries so that we can continue this effort, please visit testeverything.net and click on the Support 119 tab. Learn how you can partner with us to take the whole Word of God to the nations.